And we're joined again this week with Ron Sari from the Waupaca Area School District and Aaron Jensen from the City of Waupaca for our weekly community update as we take a look at things going on. And the biggest news out there right now is the state Supreme Court made a decision about the Safer at Home order, effectively tossing that out. And Aaron, I'll turn to you. What does that mean for us locally here in the Waupaca County area?
Yeah, good question, Josh. I think that's a question everyone's asking right now when they woke up this morning. Yeah, I don't know if it was necessarily a surprise on what the ruling was. I think it maybe was a surprise on what that meant immediately. And that's what we're working through today. So this morning, we had a call with our county public health department and the city administrators around the county, and we were just talking through what that could look like coming up and what direction may be coming out of the county. One thing people should know is that municipalities really don't have the authority to make any orders, that would be similar to what you saw from a Safer at Home order. Only health departments do. So in our case, in Waupaca County, that would only be the Waupaca County Health Department. And I know they're working on something and they're communicating with a bunch of stakeholders this afternoon. And I would think that from what we heard this morning, they're probably going to release something later this afternoon. And then we'll help get that word out when that comes out. And when I say municipalities can't, that's not entirely true, because depending on the size of the municipality, there are a handful of municipalities around the state that do have their own health departments, and then they can do those orders, but there are none in Waupaca County. So we're going to be looking to the county for some direction on that, and we'll help get the word out as soon as that press release comes out.
And I've heard a little bit of scuttlebutt from a couple of people. Oh, we're waiting to hear what the city's going to decide on this. And based on what you said, the city's not deciding anything. Everything's driven by our county. So that's something we want to make sure people know.
It is, yeah. I guess the one thing I will say that I think we all have talked about and we think is a good idea is, as businesses are possibly open today and they weren't yesterday, following those WEDC guidelines, that is something that I think a lot of those make some logical sense. And if we are going to open, let's make sure that we're taking a look at those. You can find that on the WEDC website. And they're pretty comprehensive, and they cover a wide range of types of businesses and organizations. So that's one thing I'll encourage.
And even with people maybe not being safer at home, as long as everyone's smart about what they're doing out there, that lowers the risk in our community. So, I hope everyone takes heed to the advice out there and does their part to keep our area going well.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though, with businesses opening today, we've been through this past 6, 7, 8 weeks where people have hopefully, learned a lot and have grown aware of what maybe to do and what not to do to help spread, or to help mitigate the spread of the virus. And even when we do have these where we're opening up, I think people kind of have a better idea now than they did 8 weeks ago on what those actions should look like. So.
Absolutely. So Ron, with the lifting of this order, students aren't coming back to school tomorrow. What's the latest on the school side of things?
Well, we're exempt. We're one of the only pieces of the order that were left intact. So as of through the end of June, through June 30th, our buildings are to be closed, our grounds are to be not used. So that's where we're at. And so nothing's really changed for us, other than I don't know exactly how this is going to impact us after June 30th as a school district. And I doubt it'll have an impact on our virtual summer school that we have planned, but I guess time will tell, and we'll see what happens with the governor coming forward with another set of orders that will then get looked at or voted on by legislation. And if they can work together and collaborate to come forward with some direction that makes sense for everybody, that would be the best thing that we could all hope for.
Now, another topic that we've been discussing on and off is graduation. So the Safer at Home order has been struck down. We're in the state of limbo. That order was set to expire May 26th, with kind of us unknown what's next. What does that mean for graduation? The school grounds are closed, so that answers part of that, but
yeah, from the school district standpoint, especially with the order staying intact, we still have to have the virtual graduation that we're planning. So we're not going to do a drive-in. We can't. And really, from our standpoint, we're still going to be collaborating with all of our stakeholders, not only the parents and our seniors, but the county health officials, the city officials, law enforcement officials, other community leader officials, as well as our legal counsel and our insurance carrier to get, for any decisions that we have to make, we want that input so we can make the best decision possible that we can. But Josh, a lot of people I'm learning are not aware of the plans that the high school has for our graduation ceremony. And so if it's okay, I'd just like to kind of list off all of the things that the high school staff has going.
Absolutely. That'd be awesome to hear about that.
Yeah, there's a group of community parents that are doing yard signs, but the high school is also doing yard signs. And it just is a 2020 graduate making history yard sign of all the students on Comet Field in the form of a W. And so our seniors received their yard sign. Also, the class of 2020 senior slideshow, we've always had that, or for several years. That is also being created by staff, and it'll also be displayed beginning May 25th in the high school parking lot. So the high school parking lot is going to have a 6-foot by 9-foot LED, not projector, like a TV, a screen on a trailer there. And that slideshow would be playing 24/7 for the week of the 25th. At least that's the plan right now, so that anybody driving by could stop quick and watch that video. Then, that slideshow is also going to include the students' name and their future plans. Of course, the Waupaca County Post previously and this year will still put the pictures of the seniors. We contracted with a company to provide the virtual graduation ceremony. So that will be live streamed on Sunday, May 31st at 2:00. Seniors will be recognized in this professionally done ceremony with their photo, and also their photo that they submitted to the high school of them in their cap and gown. Each of them also will have a 10-second video of themselves thanking the ones that have impacted them on their educational journey with a personal message there. The graduation will also include speeches from the valedictorian, salutatorian, our Board of Education president, and then school administration. Music will be incorporated from the Waupaca High School band, the choir, along with pictures of seniors involved in activities throughout this past school year at the high school. The virtual graduation ceremony, well, I said that it'll be streamed for families and our entire community, and then seniors will get to keep a copy of it, obviously. Our staff has also created a virtual senior walk video. I guess the tradition is that the seniors would go on a tour through the WLC in the middle school and then up to the high school. And so that's been recreated for them by our staff. And we are planning an in-person graduation ceremony on Sunday, August 9th, if we're allowed to. And we'll just see how these orders all go down and how it impacts us. But right now, that's our plan, and that's our planning.
As disappointing as it is for the students and parents, and I'm sure the school staff and community, that things aren't being held traditionally, for a traditional graduation ceremony at the end of the school year. It's pretty neat. I've been seeing the yard signs you've talked about. I've been seeing those all over the place. I've been seeing the ones with the names on, and in some respect, it's kind of cool that the community's almost included a little more in learning about the seniors and seeing what's going on than maybe the people that might not attend an in-person graduation.
I think you're right. It's given heightened attention and heightened focus, and it's a true sign of how people kind of move together to support. When you're in a crisis like this, everybody kind of moves together to help one another. And we're seeing that here. I know as a member of Rotary's in full support of both what the parents are providing in regards to those signs and Adopt a Senior, as well as what the school is doing and the rationale behind why the school had to do what we did. You know, right now from the school perspective, we're really getting to a point where we're planning the end of the year. You know, the last school day is June 5th, the official one, and our last day of, I guess you'd call it new learning, is Friday, May 29th. And on June 3rd and 4th are when there'll be schedules that the parents and the students are all going to be hearing about next week, that when they come to drop their devices off and when they come to pick up any leftover items that haven't yet been picked up, that type of thing. So that'll be taking place on June 3rd and 4th, with June 5th being kind of the last day to tie up loose ends. So we're gearing up to call in. Well, all of our employees are on call, and we have quite a few needs when it comes to cleaning, as well as preparation for the summer with information technology and some of the tasks that have to get done. And not only that, but helping with when these students and families are dropping off or picking up things. So we're calling people in planning those events. And next week, I'll have more information on that for you, Josh.
So we'll shift back over to something with our city in general. We all know, we've been hearing for years, the Main Street reconstruction project's coming up, and that's slated for next year. And with any downtown, when you do a major project like that, that disrupts things, that disrupts traffic flow, that disrupts easy accessibility to businesses, perhaps convenient parking. And while the end result is meant to be well, there's a period of inconvenience on a project like that. And I remember a month or so ago saying in a city, I don't know if it was one of our department head meetings, but someone threw out the idea, maybe we could get Main Street done this summer while things are in this kind of this weird state where businesses really can't be open, and maybe instead of having 2 years in a row with businesses being negative impacted, maybe it can all just get done at once. And what a unique idea that was, and that's something that's not feasible in there, and I want you to speak about that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Josh. So as this pandemic hit in mid-March and we started to see the impacts of that, exactly what you just brought up was on the forefront of our mind within, once we got our feet on the ground, we thought, man, is there any possibility to have some of that Main Street, if not all of it, done this year? So we could kind of have that impact be all in the same summer. We knew that there was probably less than a 1% chance. But we reached out to the DOT, just a reminder, there's, state and federal dollars tied to it. And the DOT confirmed after a little bit of back and forth that there was, in fact, yes, less than a 1% chance. Unfortunately, it was a 0% chance. So then our conversation briefly went to, okay, well, we know this is going to be an impact on all the businesses around the Main Street and downtown area. Does it make sense to have a conversation about what it could look like, pushing it back to 2022? Does that even make sense 1 year? And as we had those conversations, there's a lot of things to consider. And really, we are not going to head in that direction. And the reasons we're not going to head in that direction are, with all of the uncertainty at the state level right now and funding, the last thing we want to happen is all of a sudden time goes on and they're like, well, we don't have the funding for that project anymore. So we're not saying that that's a high possibility, but you just don't know. And I don't think anyone knows what the future holds from now. So when we can get it done, we'd like to get it done. Another thing, you talk about pandemics, and when you talk about pandemics, you hear of waves, wave 2, wave 3. Man, how much would we be kicking ourselves if we pushed it off to 2022 and wave 2 or wave 3 came next summer? And all of a sudden we were in some period of lockdown, and we were asking ourselves the same question that we are today, saying, man, wouldn't it be nice to be getting this done? And here we moved it. So not only that, but there'd be, with bidding going up, there'd be also quite a bit of increased cost if you put it to 2022. So all of those things, we felt like it did not make sense. But we will continue. We're going to actually, Justin and I just talked to our public works director. We're going to have a 4th public informational meeting. That was going to be a virtual meeting. We'll see what that's going to be. It's going to be the first week in June. I think hold on one sec. Let me just pull up my calendar. Well, it's that first Thursday in June, which is
the 4th.
June 4th. Yes, thank you. So there'll be information coming out on that. I think it's going to be a noon meeting, and we'll talk about the 90% plans and answer any questions from there.
So the point of bringing this up, the Main Street project staying status quo on the schedule it was initially put on, but it's important for the community to know that all this is being factored and discussed and trying to ease the burden as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. We're having conversations around all of that. One thing that was done at the last council meeting was that there's some TIF plans being amended that could possibly lend us the tools to do some programs in the downtown area and throughout the whole city or most of the city. So we're continuing to have those conversations, Josh, and yeah, we look forward to putting something together and making sure we're mitigating any negative impact that's coming from the pandemic or Main Street or any of that. So.
And then another exciting thing going on, I know we touched on it a few weeks ago, is the grant writer position that's going to be put in place, shared between the school, city, and the Chamber of Commerce. That position continues to move forward, and I don't know which one of you wants to kind of touch on that a little bit.
Do you want to start, Aaron?
I can certainly start. Yep, and Ron, you can jump in whenever. So Ron, myself, Terry Schultz from the Chamber of Commerce, we were approached by Mr. and Mrs. Tim and Joy Neville about possibly kind of partnering to have this grant writer position that would serve our three organizations and in turn the entire community. And it's really unbelievable. They've really committed to paying for the first year of that position. It's a different kind of setup, right? We see tons of opportunities, but it's something you don't see in a lot of communities, and they're giving us the opportunity to take a look at this and say, hey, can this work, and can it provide us a higher quality of life? Can it help out in economic development? And without that type of willingness from the Nevilles, we may not have ever known, right? But we've been working on it. I think we've had probably 4 meetings, Ron, on Friday afternoons, and we've talked about how does the job description look? How does the structure of this look? Is it a contracted position? If it is, what are the details of that? And those are some of the things that we're bringing forward to our boards. Actually, I know one went to the chamber this week, another one's going to go to the school this next week, and mine's going to go to council on Tuesday. So we're having that conversation, and it's an opportunity that we are thrilled to even be a part of.
Yeah, it is exciting. It's something that very few communities or school districts have. And so here we have little Waupaca in rural Wisconsin that has a philanthropist who is willing to move forward with this idea and kickstart it off. And then, in future years, we would between the three organizations share in the funding of it. But we're pretty confident that it's going to do more than pay for itself. So the taxpayers are really going to be getting a bang for their buck with this. And, I mentioned this before, Josh, from a school district perspective, we're funded based on the number of students that we have. And we've been going through some declining enrollment. Our goal is to turn that around and instead of having declining enrollment, have increasing enrollment, because that's how you increase your level of funding. And this is something that we believe, along with the work Aaron has been doing with the Waupaca growth team and selling lots and getting developers to come in and build housing. It's just such a win-win. It's a win for the businesses because they'll have more people available to have as employees. It's a win for the city to increase their tax base. And hopefully if these people have young children, it's a win for the school district because we'll have more students and more funding. So we're really looking forward to it.
Between the grant writer position, between the increased interest in housing and considering kind of the downtime we're in right now, those are some pretty exciting things coming to our community. And hopefully when the time comes that we are stair-stepping out of this and getting back to normal, we'll be in a really good position, hopefully.
I think so.
Yeah, I hope so, Josh. I think Ron and I and you and everyone we think we live in a pretty special place, and we just want that word to get out there. And I think there's just something special about Waupaca, and it's nice to kind of see that there's some interest from others, and maybe they're starting to recognize that, and hopefully we can capitalize on it and keep momentum going. Momentum's a huge thing, right?
And the thing I want to close on today are some numbers. You've got some update numbers, Ron, about how many meals the school has served, and I'm just amazed by how large that number is, and it tells the phenomenal job the school district's doing in coordinating that.
Yeah, this is really the product of our food service department, as well as Go Right Way, our bus vendor. And from March 23rd to May 13th, so yesterday, that's a 36-day period of meals, 36 school days, I should say. And we have distributed 24,072 meals. So that's including lunches and breakfasts. That's total meals, 24,000. You think of that, wow, it's mind-blowing. Our biggest amount that we've been delivering now are 204. So 204 meals a day are delivered by Go Right Way, and 332 meals are picked up. And it's pretty incredible. So we have about 168 families coming to the high school daily, and 164 families coming to WLC daily to get meals. And we're proud of our staff for all the work that they're putting into this, as well as Go Right Way.
Very good news there. Well, Ron, Aaron, again, appreciate the time to keep the Waupaca community updated with all the things going on, and hopefully week by week things slowly turn more positive, and hope for the best, and hope everyone stays safe and smart with some of the recent decisions coming down from the state.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thanks, Josh.
Have a good one.